Love after 60. Say this while he's inside you, and he'll never look at another woman again. Welcome, my friend, to the Success Mindset. I am deeply grateful that you are here, choosing to invest your attention in this conversation. They often say, men are visual creatures, that what first catches their eyes becomes what captivates their hearts. But what if I told you that the real secret to making a man feel so deeply connected to you that he never desires another woman is not found in the curve of your body, the color of your hair, or even the sparkle in your smile? What if the truth was that his devotion rests not in what he sees, but in what he hears, in the words you choose to share, in those most tender, private moments together? The secret lies in the language of intimacy, in the phrases whispered when passion is highest and his soul is most unguarded. Because when a man is inside you, when his defenses melt away and his heart is at its most vulnerable, your words are no longer ordinary. They bypass the surface and etch themselves into his memory, into his very sense of self. In that fragile, heightened state, your voice carries extraordinary weight. Your words don't just brush against his ears, they are absorbed into his spirit. They become part of him. This phenomenon, which I call emotional imprinting, is the art of leaving a mark so profound that no casual attraction or fleeting encounter could ever erase it. Science has confirmed what poets have long suspected. In moments of intimacy, a man's brain floods with dopamine and oxytocin, chemicals that trigger pleasure, bonding, and trust. When he hears your words of love, desire, or appreciation in that state, those emotions fuse together. His body feels pleasure, yes, but his mind links that pleasure not simply to the act itself, but to you, the woman who gave it to him. This is not about manipulation. It is about connection. It is about speaking truth into the rare moments when his heart is wide open, so that your love does not just touch him in the present, but lingers in his soul long after. Passion after 60 is not gone. It is transformed. It becomes richer, steadier, more profound. If you've ever asked yourself what to say to a man in order to keep his eyes, his heart, and his loyalty tied to you, then stay with me, because in this journey together, we will uncover 5 timeless insights into using your words as the bridge between passion and lasting devotion. These are not tricks, but tools, gifts that will empower you to deepen love in ways most couples never discover. Before we begin, I want to invite you, if you find value in this wisdom, to support our community by liking this video and subscribing to Wise Life After 60. Every gesture of support allows us to reach more women who deserve not just companionship, but real respect and profound love in this stage of life. Together, we are proving that love does not diminish with age, it ripens. Now let us gently step into the first truth. The first insight is emotional imprinting. There are certain moments in life when words echo louder and last longer than actions, and intimacy, especially intimacy after 60, is one of those sacred windows. Emotional imprinting happens when the words you choose at the very peak of closeness are stamped onto his heart. They don't just vanish into the air, they are etched into his memory, intertwined forever with the rush of feelings he experiences with you. Once created, this imprint becomes a mark no other woman can erase. It is the invisible thread that binds him to you, even when time and distance separate your bodies. Science gives us the first clue as to why this is so powerful. In that vulnerable state of physical intimacy, his mind is flooded with dopamine, the chemical of pleasure, and oxytocin, the chemical of bonding. This cocktail of neurochemicals leaves his mental guard down. His mind becomes like soft clay, unusually receptive, open to suggestion, ready to hold memory in a way that rarely happens in the everyday hours of life. Whatever you whisper in that moment seeps deeper than it ever could at any other time. Your words bypass the noise of the ordinary day and become etched in his unconscious mind. But science alone cannot capture the whole picture. Beyond the biology, there is something deeply human, almost spiritual, at work. Carl Jung once observed that what is not brought to consciousness comes to us as fate. In intimacy, his unconscious opens wide, and your words become more than sounds. They become symbols. They reach down into the hidden parts of him. The boy who once longed to be chosen, the man who still hungers for belonging, the soul that yearns to be truly seen. That is where emotional imprinting takes root, and that is why your voice at that moment is far more powerful than you realize. I remember a close friend telling me a story that illustrates this truth beautifully. She shared that her husband, even after 40 years of marriage, still carried with him a phrase she had whispered on one of their very first nights together. To her, it had been nothing remarkable, just a small expression of appreciation in the moment. But to him, it became unforgettable. He once told her, "Whenever I think of us, I think of those words. They made me feel that I was enough." 40 years later, that sentence still lived inside him as a quiet treasure, a source of security and love. That is the magic of emotional imprinting. It doesn't require poetry or grand declarations. It requires only authenticity, spoken when his soul is most open. The danger, of course, is that silence or careless words in those sacred moments can leave no imprint at all, or worse, create an imprint of distance, rejection, or emptiness. This is why emotional imprinting is not about manipulation, but about intention. It is about recognizing the extraordinary weight your words carry in those fleeting seconds and choosing to use them with care. When you connect your love, your admiration, and your affirmation to the very height of his pleasure, you are teaching his body and his mind to associate fulfillment with you. Over time, these imprints become like pearls, strung together across the years, forming a necklace of memories he carries everywhere. Long after the physical fire of passion fades, the glow of those words remains, steady and luminous. This is why I call emotional imprinting the first and perhaps most powerful key, because once his heart carries that mark, it is not only his body that remembers you, it is his very definition of love itself. Yet creating the imprint is only the beginning. The next question is, what do you choose to imprint? For here lies the difference between surface attraction and deep, unshakable devotion. That leads us to the second insight. Speak to his identity, not just his ego. If emotional imprinting is about planting the seed, then choosing the right words is about deciding what kind of tree that seed will grow into. Too often, women speak only to a man's ego. They praise his looks, his performance, his achievements. And while there is nothing wrong with admiration for those things, they touch only the surface. They lift him for a moment, but fade like smoke in the wind. His ego, after all, is fragile, always comparing, always chasing, never satisfied. When you tell him he is handsome or strong, he enjoys it, but the words don't stay with him for long. Identity, on the other hand, is different. Identity is deeper. It is the sum of his values, his integrity, his character, the essence of who he believes himself to be. When you speak to his identity, you are reaching into the part of him that endures. That is like planting a seed in soil that never dries out. Think about the difference between saying, "You look great tonight," and saying, "I love your loyalty," or "I admire your kindness." One praises something temporary. The other honors something permanent. When you speak to his identity, you are affirming not just what he does, but who he is at his core. And that is a form of love no man forgets. Philosophy has long recognized this truth. The Stoic Epictetus wrote, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do." A man's true self lies not in the trophies he collects, but in the choices he makes about who he wants to be. When your words confirm that deeper self, you are telling him he is loved for his essence, not his mask. And the older a man grows, the more powerful this becomes. In later life, men fear invisibility as much as women do. They fear becoming shadows of who they once were, valued only for their past performance or present appearance. When you affirm qualities like loyalty, kindness, patience, and ambition, you remind him that he is still whole, still meaningful, still deeply loved. Let me pause here to ask you something. When was the last time someone praised who you are, rather than what you do? How did that feel? Did it sink deeper into your heart than any surface compliment could? The same is true for him. Speaking to his identity is one of the most overlooked yet powerful forms of connection, especially in love after 60. Because when your words settle into his identity, they do not fade with time. They become confirmations of his very soul. This is the second key, and when combined with emotional imprinting, it lays the foundation for a bond that endures. But how do you make sure your words are not just genuine, but unforgettable? That is where the third insight comes in. Specific, authentic praise. Specific and authentic praise forms the third, great key to making intimacy last, and it is here that many relationships stumble without realizing why. A man can hear thousands of compliments throughout his life, but only the words that come from genuine recognition will ever take root in his heart. Empty flattery evaporates quickly. Phrases like, "You're amazing," or "You're so handsome," may ignite a spark in the moment, but the warmth does not last. What truly binds him, what nourishes the connection between you, are words that reveal you are paying attention to who he really is and what makes him uniquely valuable. The deeper psychology at play here is simple. Men, no matter how stoic they appear, long not only to be desired, but to be seen. They yearn for a witness to their efforts, their quiet sacrifices, the qualities they themselves may not even fully recognize. When you notice those details, the way he listens when you need to talk, the steadiness in his hands when he fixes something for you, the patience he shows with your grandchildren, and then you speak those truths aloud in a moment of closeness, you carve a permanent space in his memory. That is what authentic praise accomplishes. I recall a story from a friend that illustrates this so clearly. She used to tell her partner he was handsome, and while he smiled, the words didn't linger. One night, however, as they held each other, she whispered something very different. "I love how safe I feel in your arms." He froze, overcome with emotion, and then kissed her forehead, with tears in his eyes. To him, that moment was unforgettable, because it was not about surface attraction. It was about meaning. She wasn't just complimenting his appearance, she was recognizing the profound role he played in her life. That phrase connected his strength to her sense of safety, validating the deepest part of his masculine identity. Years later, he still carried that sentence with him as if it were a personal treasure. That is the difference between shallow praise and authentic affirmation. One disappears like mist, the other endures like carved stone. At this stage of life, when love after 60 asks for wisdom rather than games, specific praise becomes not just helpful, but essential. It is the nourishment of intimacy, the way you reassure him that he is not invisible, not fading into the background of your shared years. He is still the man who matters to you, and the qualities you notice remind him that his presence is vital. When you speak authentically, you are telling him you see him in the fullness of body, mind, and spirit. And when a man feels seen in that way, he no longer needs to look outward for validation. He anchors himself in the love you provide, knowing it is real, knowing it is enduring. This, however, is only the beginning, for praise alone cannot sustain passion. To build something unbreakable, you must go beyond compliments and enter the realm of connection where the physical and emotional intertwine. And this brings us to the fourth insight: connecting the physical to the emotional. Too often, intimacy is treated as a purely physical act, two bodies coming together in pleasure, only to drift apart when the moment passes. But real devotion, especially in love after 60, is forged when the physical is woven seamlessly into the emotional. Passion can spark desire, but emotion is what sustains it, turning a fleeting fire into a lasting flame. Imagine, for instance, whispering to him, "I've never felt this close to anyone before," while you are holding him in your arms. In that instant, the act of physical intimacy becomes more than sensation. It becomes a declaration of uniqueness, an affirmation that what you share with him is unlike anything else in your life. Or picture saying softly, "Being with you feels like home." Those simple words transform his understanding of what intimacy means. Suddenly, it is not only about passion, it is about safety, belonging, and the profound comfort of knowing that your soul has found its place. You are teaching his body and mind to link desire with love, pleasure with security, passion with permanence. Even the most ordinary phrase, when tied to emotional meaning, carries enormous weight. "I love feeling safe in your arms," for example, does more than complement his strength. It validates his role as protector, a role that men often carry silently, without acknowledgement. For him, hearing that is not only affirming, it is grounding. It tells him that his worth lies not merely in performance, but in the love and security he offers. That recognition touches the deepest core of his heart. Philosophers and poets have hinted at this for centuries. Rumi once wrote, "Wherever you stand, be the soul of that place." When you are with him, your soul must be as present as your body, and your words become the bridge that ties his physical joy to emotional meaning. This is how intimacy evolves into devotion. The fourth insight reminds us that true connection is not built on passion alone, but on weaving the physical and the emotional so tightly together that they can never be pulled apart. Without this, intimacy risks becoming forgettable, a fleeting act. With it, intimacy becomes unforgettable, a sacred experience he will carry long after the night has ended. And it is this depth that leads us naturally into the final and most forward-looking insight, the one that ensures your love not only endures but grows stronger with every passing year, anchoring desire in a future together. Desire by itself is powerful, but it is also fragile. Like a flame without fuel, it burns brightly but quickly fades. What sustains passion after 60 is not just the fire of the moment, but the ability to take that heat and connect it to the life you are still building together. Anchoring desire in a shared future means reminding him that what you feel is not temporary, but part of a larger vision of love. In the quietest, most intimate moments, your words can plant seeds in his imagination, tying the pleasure of now to the promise of tomorrow. Instead of focusing only on what he gives you in the present moment, you can use your words to remind him that your connection extends into the days, months, and years ahead. Imagine whispering, "I can't wait to wake up next to you tomorrow." That phrase takes the intimacy of tonight and links it to the certainty of tomorrow, turning one night into a pattern of many. Or perhaps saying, "Growing old with you feels like the sweetest gift." Suddenly, what you share is no longer just an act of passion. It is part of a lifelong journey. You are telling him that every moment of intimacy is not isolated, but woven into the larger story of your lives together. In senior romance, this is profoundly meaningful. Both partners understand that time is more precious now than ever before. Anchoring desire in a shared future reassures him that your passion is not fleeting, that it stretches beyond the moment into the days you will continue to walk side by side. Phrases like, "Every time we're together like this, I see the future I want with you," or "You make me excited about all the days still ahead," are not only romantic, they are grounding. They tell him that intimacy is part of a vision, that he is not just your lover in this moment, but your companion for all the tomorrows to come. Psychology supports this truth. Studies show that when desire is linked to future-oriented thinking, the bond between partners strengthens dramatically. For men especially, this reassurance of permanence is powerful. It speaks to a deep longing for security, for a relationship that is not just physical, but eternal in its meaning. You are not merely sharing a night. You are writing the story of a shared life. This is feminine wisdom at its most profound, taking the spark of the present and tying it to the flame of the future, ensuring that the connection you nurture now continues to warm both of you in the years ahead. And so, we come full circle. We began with emotional imprinting, the art of leaving words so deeply tied to his pleasure that they become unforgettable. We explored the second insight, speaking to his identity rather than his ego, affirming who he is at his core rather than flattering what he does. We moved into the third, the importance of specific, authentic praise that recognizes his unique value and makes him feel seen. From there, we entered the fourth insight, the weaving of physical and emotional intimacy so that passion becomes devotion. And finally, we discovered the fifth, anchoring desire in a future together so that intimacy is not only about today, but about tomorrow, about the promise of days yet to come. These 5 truths are not tricks, nor are they manipulations. They are tools of love, reminders that intimacy is more than the body. It is the gateway to the heart, and when you know how to speak into that open space, you create an imprint that lasts a lifetime. Love after 60 is not a fading ember, but a fire that, when tended with wisdom and care, can burn warmer, steadier, and more profoundly than ever before. Passion does not die with age. It evolves, ripening into something richer, something deeper, something eternal. So I leave you with this thought. What words will you choose the next time you find yourself in that sacred moment with him? What seeds will you plant into tomorrow, whispered softly into his soul? Remember, your words are not just sounds in the air. They are anchors. They are imprints. They are the quiet architects of loyalty, devotion, and love that endures. Use them with intention, with honesty, and with love, and you will discover that intimacy is not merely about holding his attention. It is about holding his heart for the rest of your life. And if these insights have spoken to you, I hope you will like this video and subscribe to the Success Mindset. Together, we are building a community of women who honor their worth, celebrate their wisdom, and create the kind of love that grows stronger with age. Until next time, take care of your spirit, cherish the gift of your words, and remember always, passion may begin in the body, but lasting love is spoken into the heart.